Hello dear crypto friends and welcome to this new video, and today we are not wasting any time, okay? No intro today, we are straight away getting started with the Bitcoin chart because it's a brutal day and it is kind of urgent. We are afraid that Bitcoin and crypto is entering a huge bear market. Like, we are afraid that prices are crashing down, so let's not waste any time and let's start right away with the long-term Bitcoin chart. This is our long-term Bitcoin chart. I have loaded the logarithmic regression channel. So for you guys that are new, the logarithmic regression channel is the current best fit model that describes Bitcoin price development. And why does it behave that way? Because the Bitcoin number of transactions and wallets is also rising according to such a trend. So if we look at the number of Bitcoin active addresses, right, all-time history chart, then we see that actually the way this is rising looks like a square root function, on the long-term trend line in the logarithmic chart, right? So this means that Bitcoin price is actually just following the way Bitcoin is used. If more people use Bitcoin, if you have more number of active addresses, and if Bitcoin is used more often, so if more transactions are done, then Bitcoin price increases, and the price appreciation basically just describes how the number of active addresses is rising and how often Bitcoin is basically being used. And this is called Metcalfe's law, okay? Metcalfe's law. So this is the best model we currently have for long-term Bitcoin price development. Now, is it 100% guaranteed model? Like, will it 100% guaranteed work? We don't know. There are many different models out there, and we will have to see which model will prove to be the correct one. But in my opinion, this is a very good model. So this is therefore a good model we have, the logarithmic regression trend. And now we are worried, right? We are worried because it looks as if Bitcoin is in a bear market. Now, first of all, the definition of bull and bear market has changed since the last rallies, right? We have talked about it quite a few times. This rally is kind of different, or this cycle, call it whatever you will, is different from the last ones. The last ones were much more defined, okay? In 2011, you had a very defined cycle. In 2013, we will talk about that one because that was not super defined. We actually had two different rallies. And then we had in 2017 another one, which was just one huge continuous rally with a few corrections in between. And this time, it's again really different from before. We have this weird kind of corrective structure here. Look at it, how bizarrely weird it looks. And we don't have a blow-off top, first of all, right? We would have expected to have like such kind of a blow-off top, but it didn't happen. Why? Because there are more institutional investors now in the market, and they don't do this insane over-the-top, super speculative trading like we average newbie investors are doing it basically. So they are more like, they have larger sums, first of all, so they don't do leverage trading like crazy maniacs. So therefore, now because we have more institutional investors, the market is being more dominated by the institutional investors. So therefore, the price chart of crypto in general and of Bitcoin looks different. And then we didn't have this blow off top. So normally I would have expected that we hit 100K or 108K in this logarithmic model here. It would have gone to the resistance of 100 at around 109 or 110K in April 2021, okay? But this didn't happen, obviously, and now we have this super weird, long, stretched out corrective structure. And I was saying in the last videos, as long as this line here doesn't break, we can still kind of say that this is a bull market corrective structure. We call it a running flat correction. So this sometimes happens in a bull market. You shoot up and then you get such a running flat correction, and then it breaks out to the upside, okay? This is a theory which still holds as long as this line here holds. If this line breaks, we could still have something called an expanded flat. In the case of an expanded flat, we go below this area here, so below this low, we make a huge drop, a brutal drop, and then we immediately get a pump. So this would be an expanded flat correction. Now we don't know what is going to happen, right? People are talking about bull markets, bear markets. The reality is that Bitcoin has changed its behavior and it's doing weird mini bear markets and mini bull markets. So like this is a mini bear market here, mini bear market, mini bull market, right? What the hell is this? This is weird new behavior. So the old models don't really apply anymore and we have to think what is happening. So in the last videos I was saying, okay guys, look, we could still be technically in a bull market. This could be still a super cycle, a very long cycle where we have like a double rally, like in 2013. So if we look at 2013, let's go back to 2013. What happened? We had two rallies. We had one from the end of 2012 that lasted until April 2013. And then we had a weird bear market. This thing here was, make no mistake, this thing was a bear market, okay? We had a few months of bear market in 2013. And then in late 2013, we had another bull market. Now it could happen. Okay, now it could be that this is just a repeat. Let's just go into the daily chart. Okay, let's just copy the 2013 cycle. Let's copy the 2013 cycle and now let's overlay it with our current cycle, right? What would happen if we overlay this thing with our current cycle and just stretch it out, just weirdly stretch it out, right? We would have something like this here, where we could say that this whole thing, okay, I have to zoom in now and let me just deactivate all these lines and all these things here. So if I would overlay the 2013 bull market with this structure here, it certainly does look different, okay? It certainly does not fit anymore, but we could, with a bit of fantasy, say that we are having like a weird similar structure, but without the blow-off top. We said now we don't have blow-off tops anymore because there are more institutional investors in the market. So if we look at this and compare it to 2013, we could, with a bit of fantasy, say, okay, it's really not as in 2013. We are missing the blow-off top, but with a bit of luck, we are wobbling around here. We are now seeing this low that we had in 2013. And then we wobble around and then we get a second leg up at some point, okay? This is not entirely excluded. Now, let's go back and take a look at our long-term behavior in the weekly picture. And we also activate the MA290. Why the MA290? The moving average of 290 weeks. Because this is the lowest that we could go in theory, in my opinion, okay? So we hit it once in the COVID low. So this was the weekly moving average 290. It has been hit perfectly at 3,900. And the weekly moving average 290 technically didn't yet exist in August 2015. But if we would draw it back, we can say that if it had existed, it would have hit it perfectly with the low in August 2015, okay? So this seems to be the ultra super solid support, the lowest that we can go down in a quick flash crash. This is like the super low flash crash territory. And how low is it? Well, it's now sitting at 16,600. So I'm really sorry to say this, but if this line breaks now, if this line breaks and we are not in an expanded flat, we are not doing an expanded flat as it still would be possible. So we make a new low and then out of a sudden we have a rally. If that doesn't happen and the dollar index just continues pumping, we will get to the dollar in a minute. So if the dollar index continues to pump like crazy, then the following will happen. I think we might go down to the 20,000 area first. Let's just also add the moving average 200. So I have added the moving average 200, which historically has been very good support. We see that the price has undershot it sometimes in these wick candles, these flash crashes. It has happened once, twice. Here it has held 3 times. So in Bitcoin's history, the MA200 has been undershot with wick candles for 3 times. So this could hold. The weekly moving average 200 could hold. It sits currently at 21,600, but we could even go below in a brutal flash crash to an area about now currently sitting at 16,700. But I could imagine that we go to this level. Of course, it will rise a bit until then. So this will be at 17 to 18,000. Okay, 17 to 18,000. So this, of course, would then be the 100% confirmation that we have entered a brutal bear market. This is clear. There's no denying that. Okay, there's no arguing around it. Then we are 100% crystal clear in a brutal bear market, because if we are lucky and we are now in an expanded flat, this would mean we go to 27,000 or something like that. Then we rebound quickly and we immediately go into a rally situation. This is an expanded flat, okay? We can have a look here. So this would be this situation, right? An expanded flat. We have an A, B, C type correction, and the C goes lower than the A. So for our situation, that would indeed mean that we are seeing kind of an A, B, C type structure where we go lower than this here, like A, B, C, right? And then we go lower and then we go immediately into a rally. This is an expanded flat. If we are lucky, this happens. If we are not lucky, friends, if we are quite unlucky and the dollar index continues pumping like a crazy bastard, then the following thing will happen. We will go first to the MA200, bounce maybe a bit, and if that level doesn't hold and the dollar index still continues pumping, then we go to the MA290. Depending on when we will arrive there, it will be at 17 or 18 or $19,000, depending, of course, like how fast we will get there. And if that happens, there is of course no denying anymore that this will be a quite long and drawn out bear market, right? There's no denying that. We cannot see a crash down to the MA290 and then we immediately go into a rally. No, this is not what will happen. If we go so low, if we go to the MA290, then we might get a strong bounce, but we wobble around and it will take a long time to recover. And I don't think in that case that we will get a bull market in 2022 or 2023. I think then we have to wait for the halving in 2024. So we would have to wobble around and then the halving comes in 2024 and then we could be lucky and get our next rally. Right? So this will be the situation if we break down now. If we break down, that's it. If we go to such levels, we can kiss the bull market continuation bye-bye. Until now, we could still say, this could still be an expanded flat, right? If this level doesn't break, we could still be in a running flat, okay? It's not invalidated yet. We are almost there. We see like, okay, we have almost hit the support. It's currently sitting at about 35,100. So if we hit that level and the level holds, we could still say this is all a running flat correction and we could still then get into a bull market. And even if it breaks, we could still say, if it's just a quick wick down, we could still say this will be an expanded flat. But if that level also breaks, then friends, we are definitively in bear market territory. And I'm talking about a long, at least 1 year lasting, possibly 2 year lasting bear market. Okay. But what does it depend upon? As always, I know you hate it. We all hate it. We don't like it. But currently, friends, this is all being dictated by the dollar index. You know, the dollar index, this crazy maniac, this crazy mofo is, you know, pumping like crazy, doesn't want to stop, right? We have said a few times, if the dollar index will not stop at this level, then friends, we can forget our bull market continuation. Then we can just say ciao. We can just say, ciao, bull market was nice. It was a nice time. But now we are entering a nice bear market territory, because if this strong resistance level here breaks, and we see that in the monthly chart we have rejection. It started pumping again yesterday. It tried to break through, but it was rejected again. So if this level falls and the dollar index continues, there's no resistance anymore for quite a while, because then we are seeing levels here, right? We are seeing levels that we haven't seen in the dollar index since 20 years. And the next resistance level is then basically really given by, okay, this level here, 109, and then we are talking about 120. And if the dollar index would pump to 120, friends, then this would be brutal for Bitcoin. This would be brutal. This would be the scenario that I'm talking about. This would mean that Bitcoin crashes down to at least the MA200, if not the MA290, meaning $17,000, $18,000 or $19,000. Okay, this would be brutal. So we can just pray to the crypto gods that they are not abandoning us. We can just hope that the dollar index will not pump like crazy. There's no way to foresee it. The market is highly irrational. Okay, we don't know what is priced in and what not. I was thinking that the interest rate hikes are priced in, but now, judging from yesterday's pump, I'm not 100% sure anymore. So it will be like 50-50. Fate will decide now if basically the dollar index will pump or not. We can say that we have a bearish divergence in the dollar index, but I have been repeating that since weeks and nothing is happening. So the price is now higher than it was in March 2015, but at the same time the RSI is getting lower. So technically this is a bearish divergence, but apparently the market doesn't care about divergences and it's pumping anyway. So indicators are indicators. They work sometimes very nicely, but sometimes the market is highly irrational and just ignores indicators. So we really have to hope that this level doesn't fall and that the dollar index will not continue pumping, because if it continues pumping for 1 or 2 years, then Bitcoin will enter a brutal bear market, which will last until the next halving in 2024. As sorry as I am to say this, but if the dollar now gets rejected at this level, which still could happen because we see it is struggling to get through, it is struggling. So if we see rejection in the next weeks, then there's still hope. And then if that happens, we see a continuation of the Bitcoin and crypto bull market, but only unfortunately if the dollar index will dump. Now, what is the chance that it will be dumping? I've said a few times that the Fed funds rate raising is not automatically a guarantee for the dollar pump, okay? Because if we load the Fed funds rate, let's just load the Fed funds rate, okay? Pin to new right scale. Look, if we load the Fed funds rate, we see that the last times the Fed funds rate was increased, this didn't automatically mean that the dollar would be pumping. Yes, it was pumping, for example, in 2004, 2005. It was pumping for a while, but then even before the Fed fund rate reached the maximum point, it already started dumping, right? And the same happened here in 2015. So the Fed fund rate was raised from 2015 to 2019 up to 2.5%, about 2.5%. And the dollar index first started pumping, right? It started pumping, but then at some point, just suddenly, it just brutally started dumping, and that was in 2017. And what happened in 2017? That's right, friends, the last big bull market. So this means that the raising of the Fed fund rate is not automatically a guarantee that the dollar index will pump like crazy, okay? This is based on many geopolitical events. This is what is unfolding right now in the world. Many are fleeing into the safe dollar, which is kind of ridiculous because we all know fiat currencies are crap and they are losing value all the time. But the other fiat currencies apart from the dollar are much more crap than the dollar. So the people from the other fiat currencies are actually now flocking into the dollar, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that is the reason why the dollar is still pumping. So we will have to now see what happens to the Fed fund rate, right? the Fed fund rate will continue to rise, but as happened here, at some point, we don't know when, at some point from now until the next 1 or 2 years, the dollar index will suddenly reverse and start dumping, but we don't know when. Will it be now? Or will the dollar index still continue pumping for 1 or 2 years until 110, 115, 120? In that case, friends, Bitcoin will enter a bear market and then the dollar will dump. And then after that, Bitcoin will have the next huge bull market. That is the current picture. It all depends. I wish it wasn't so. But it all depends on the dollar index, what is happening now with the dollar index, how the geopolitical situation in Eastern Europe will unfold, because there's a lot of stuff happening there which influences the dollar index. So we will have to wait and see. Going back one last time to the Bitcoin chart, we see that the RSI is nearing very, very low levels. Okay, it is nearing insanely low levels. We are now at 50 point something, and the lowest it ever was at 43.87. So we could imagine that this plays out like this, but that would mean that we are now entering a bear market. But the weekly picture, strangely, is much more bullish, because we have said already a few times, we are making still technically higher lows, okay, until this line here is not being invalidated at about 35,000. If we go below 35,000, it's invalidated. But as long as that doesn't happen, we are technically still seeing a quite fascinating and quite strong hidden bullish divergence, right? We are making higher lows in the price and we are making lower lows in the RSI. So this technically is still a hidden bullish divergence and still a running flat correction. If we go below 35,000, then we still have the hope of an expanded flat correction, that we will have a fast crash down to 27, 26,000 and then a rally. But if we go even below that level, friends, then we are definitely having a 1 or 2 year bear market, and then the bear market is certainly here, and the next bull market will not come before the next halving in 2024. That is the current picture. I wish I had better news, but we have to be realistic about this market. We have to take into account all the things that are happening and not go too much into wishful thinking. We observe things that are happening, and then based upon what is happening, are repositioning ourselves in the crypto market, right? We are repositioning ourselves and constantly updating what is happening. But currently, as long as $35,000 holds, we could technically still be in a running flat correction or in an expanded flat correction, and we could still have a rally towards the end of the year. It's still possible. I'm not saying it's super likely anymore, because now it really feels like 50-50, but technically it still is possible. That is the current picture, friends. So as you can see, I try to make more videos now because I think there's a lot of action happening now in the market that warrants, in my opinion, more frequent videos. So let's all pray collectively to the crypto gods, or to Crom, if you will. To Crom, for example. Crom, I have never prayed to you before. All I'm asking of you is to give me the power to defeat my enemies and to be successful in the crypto market and to make insane gains in the crypto market. That's all I'm asking of you, Crom. So please give me the power to do this. And if you are not listening, Crom, then to hell with you. Okay, something like this. I don't remember the exact quote anymore. Wonderful movie, by the way, Conan the Barbarian. One of the best movies ever, okay? It is a wonderful movie and highly underrated. Please go watch Conan the Barbarian immediately right now after seeing this video, because then maybe Crom might intervene and lets the dollar index dump, which in turn will lead to huge pumps of Bitcoin and the crypto market. So anyways, I'm getting super off topic now. Friends, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe this video, or also hate on this video. Everything's better than ignoring. Dislike it also and flame me. It's just important that you participate in some form for the algorithm. You can also write hate comments, flame me, say that I'm stupid and so on. That's wonderful as long as you participate, because that would really help me and the algorithm, and then basically this channel might grow, even though the prices are dumping right now. So I'm not expecting huge growth until the next bull market, but this would still help me out, friends. So then I wish you a very nice day. May the crypto gods and Chrome be with you, and see you next time. Bye.